Hero, he has a 100% win rate in the Korean StarCraft League. The only times that Hero hasn't won a KSL this year is when he hasn't signed up for one, but this week is the first exception to that. Instead, Hero, he got knocked out in the semifinals, and we have a different pairing, a different matchup in the finals. Let's go. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Green Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. As again, Classic, he is a very aggressive I say very aggressive. Classic, he is an interesting player to follow here. I would say that he's less dynamic and less aggressive than Hero, for example. Hero can be a lot more chaotic in ZvP. Classic, he's a lot more willing to be defensive and to embrace Skytoss, for example. In a lot of matchups, actually, in PvT and PvZ, if he's given the opportunity, he will go into the late game. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. More recently, we saw that at DreamHack Dallas, true, where he was able to take Serral to the late game. And again, Classic, he's very fond of that. Like, if he sees an opportunity, he will just throw down a Stargate, throw down a Fleet Beacon, and tech into Skytoss. At the same time, along those lines, he's also a lot more aggressive as well. Last night, if you were here for it, we did cast Classic versus Shin, and we saw a lot of Glaive Adepts. We saw a lot of Glaive Adepts out of Classic, able to punish and shut down Shin time and time again. Likewise, we also saw some more defensive play mixed in as well. We'll keep an eye on the build of choice for Classic to get a read on what he does get into. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of Reynor. And we should be seeing a Stargate out of Classic. Yep, Pylon gets thrown down. The Pylon does scream Stargate play. Typically, if the goal is to hide the tech, is to go for a Twilight Council or a Robo-based opener, the Pylon will be thrown down a little bit further back behind the bases, behind the mineral lines. Based on its location, does speak more like a Stargate, just to reduce the time it takes to get across the map. The Overlord does poke in, gets eyes on the natural. Stargate has been thrown down, opening up Oracle, Standard Opener. Standard Opener out of Classic. Meanwhile, we'll see if Reynor, we'll see how he does approach this. Now, when it comes to Reynor and Glaive Adepts, I'm bringing this up just because Classic did Glaive Adept the hell out of Shin last night, and also because Showtime also Glaive Adepted the hell out of Reynor during the EWC European qualifiers. If you weren't here for it, we did cast it on the channel. We were able to cover all the regionals, of course, when it comes to EWC, and Showtime was having a very strong performance against Reynor when it came to those cheeky builds, when it came to the hidden Glaive Adepts. Reynor had a really hard time keeping up, a really hard time scouting and shutting it down. So we'll see if we try to replicate that or if we take a different approach. For now, Reynor does expand away from Classic. Important to bear that in mind. So he's not going to be racing creep across the map. So Classic does poke in. And doesn't get much done. Does shade away. Will shade away, racing back home to defend his third. Speaking of, Reynor moves out to threaten the third base of Classic. Is spotted. Adepts, I do shade. Actually shading into the natural. Oh my god. Does shade in. And he's going for the mineral line. Gets 2 drone kills. 3 drones going to be going down. They're getting up to 4. Not bad. 4 workers do fall. The Oracle does pull out. Does pull away. Now, because the 2 adepts just went down, that means there are no adepts to defend back at home. So there is an opening here. There's an opening here for Reynor. Reynor does hit the third. But the second Oracle arrives just in time. Classic defense. Classic, he defends, he shuts down the Zerglings. Third Oracle is on the way. And we're looking for the Twilight Council, we're looking for the tech of choice. Things they collapse in, they get us around. They don't quite get the Adept. Back at home, faster Evo Chamber out of Reynor. This does scream plus on melee into Ling Hydra. Reynor, he's skipping roaches. At least it looks to be the case. And that is going to be a bit of a later Twilight Council out of Classic. We're expecting a Forge. We'll keep an eye on him. As I mentioned, there's that melee upgrade. Again, early Eva Chamber typically leads into +1 melee, and the goal there is to rely on Lings and to skip out on Roaches. To rush and be a little bit more efficient, to rush into Hydra Tech. Oracle takes a lot of hits, does get 2 drones, 3 drones even, before pulling away. Oh my god. The Oracles are very low. We do have a Forge. It's going to be a delayed Forge here by Classic, but with a Forge, we should be working towards +1 and Blink. Should be. Oh! As the Oracle takes a lot of hits, and does go down. Nice pick up. Takes down the Oracle. Blink is on the way. Standard follow-up here by Classic. He's moving in. Classic does shade into the bases. Lings are having a hard time keeping up. Yeah, brutal positioning here. Lings are going down. Drones have to pull away. At the same time, Classic does move in. Looking for the drones. Shades into the main. As Zerglings are being shut down. Oh. Nice denial here of the stasis. Very nice denial. But Lings, they are falling. Again, really good positioning here from Classic. But it's being cleaned up. Yeah, it's finally cleaned up. We'll get 4 drone kills. Back at home, working towards Storm. Faster Temple Archives. Again, this is something that we saw quite a lot last night as well from Classic, is this faster Temple Archives, faster Storm. Basically, if Reynor was to go for a 3-base all-in, Storm will be ready to defend. Yeah, cannons are on the way. Pylons as well, soon to be more shield batteries. But Reynor is droning. Reynor is droning, getting a 4th base, and as we mentioned, going into Ling Hydra. Hydra is amassing. We'll see if Reynor drones up his 4th. That's what I'm most curious by. It looks like he will. Meanwhile, Classic is just fully walling up. Getting the tower low, getting a 4th base. Reynor taking up into what? Extra gases, infestation bit, into Lurker Tech. So Reynor, he's not going for an all-in. He will be droning up his 4th base. He's taking up in towards the mid-game and towards a longer game as well. And if you recall something that we mentioned at the start of the game, if Classic reads that you're taking up, if he sees that the game is going to go on longer, then we're waiting for the Stargate, waiting for the Fleet Beacon. We'll see if Classic realizes what's going on, and we'll see if he does embrace Skytoss. But now he pokes out. Poke out, gaining ground. Hive is on the way for Reynor. Hive is in production. Classic is unaware. Classic also hasn't seen the 5th. He does spot the Hydras. But again, he hasn't seen the gases. He hasn't seen the 5th base. He hasn't seen the Hive. As the Hive is here at the natural. So Classic still has incomplete information. You can see he's getting ready to defend against a push, but there is no push coming. Not yet. Does have Storm, though. He's got 6 High Templar. That's a lot of Storm. Yeah, Prism is on the way. Classic, he's committing. Lings, they catch some reinforcements. Coming from behind, they try to. Nice punish at the Classic. Zones away the Zerglings. He baits out the stasis. Does bait him out. Storms on the Hydras. Nice spread by Reynor. Does avoid that splash damage. Still going to be zoned away. Still zoned away. And there it is. Yep. Skytoss. As you mentioned, once Classic does get a whiff of what you're doing, once he sees that the game is going to go on longer, then he is more than happy to embrace Skytoss. We get some decent storms. Warbin is on the way. Prism will survive. Another storm on the Hydras. Lurkers have arrived. And the Lurkers, they will hold the line. No detection. Classic, he does bypass the Lurkers. Just going straight across the map. Okay, the Observer has arrived. He does have one more storm. The Prism is getting very low. And they should have a recall. From here, though, he backs up. Still does have one more storm. Going to just continue to warp in. And he finds top left. Yeah, it does find the expansion. Still buying some time. Oh, bit of miscontrol. And misclick there from Classic. Pulls away, going for the base. And Tempest production has begun. So far, just really a successful push here from Classic, able to outtrade his opponents, take down the expansion, deny creep, and tech up behind this. Throughout all of this, he's got a 4th base, he's ahead in economy. And Reynor's in a really rough position here. Again, ideally, the Zerg player wants to be up a base, not even on bases. They want to be up on workers, and likewise, still, I would say, behind. He's oversaturated, needs that other base, needs a 5th. And the lurkers aren't a surprise. Tempests are revealed. Classic, he's getting out of hand. He's getting out of hand, he's getting out of control. Reynor, he has to make a choice. Nidus. Okay, he's going for the Nidus. Reynor is going to commit. At this point, he has to. Now, this is actually similar to what we saw between Hero and Classic, where I would say that Classic has a stronger main army, and in a head-on fight, I favor Classic. But Reynor, he has a little more mobility on his side, especially with the Nidus Worm. He can counterattack, he can try to get into the main, he can try to get into the natural. He can buy time and bring down a base. If the armies clash, though, that's why I'm going to be concerned for Reynor. There's Revelation. First lurker goes down. The storm's popping up. Oh, God. Yeah, brutal storms. Yeah, at the same time, Reynor, he goes for the counterattack. He avoids the main fight. And again, Reynor, he cannot fight this head on. And he will bring down the expansion. There is a mothership. Mineral line goes down. Nice pick off here by Reynor. Tempest coming from behind. Do we get a recall? We're going for the base trade. We're committing. Yeah, bases are going down. Classic takes down 2 expansions. Reynor pushing in, but there are Tempest to defend. He cannot break the 3rd. And Classic is still gaining ground. He's pushing into the natural. He's going for the Nidus. Nidus is on the way, but the main Nidus is going to fall. And remember, Classic can always recall. He can always recall back home. He will snipe the hive. A brutal pickup. And Reynor, he has to counterattack, but this counterattack is late. Tower gets knocked down. Storms are not going to be ideal, but there's nothing you can achieve. GG gets called. Classic overwhelms, and Classic takes game number 1. Whew, GG. Classic, he defends, he attacks as well. Again, as we mentioned, Reynor, he just had a really hard time getting into, or getting past the mid game, I should say. Reynor, he was taking up towards lurkers, but by the time he was, we already saw Tempest amassing here for Classic. Classic, he felt like he was one step ahead there of Reynor. GG. GG, well played. Classic takes the lead. Now we're jumping into game number 2. That's gonna be a struggle for a base trade. Yeah, it was just a really rough base trade there for Reynor. I mean, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. He couldn't defend back at home, so he had to counterattack, but even then, didn't have the most ideal army for a counterattack either. Was a rough position, and here we go. We're getting into our next game, getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Incorporeal, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. Again, Classic was all over Reynor, able to be quite safe back at home, able to be assertive with his assertion, with his initial push. He was able to scout what was going on, able to get eyes on the lurkers. Was able to bully Reynor with his storms. And with that, he does take a lead. But now we're going to be loading into a much larger map. I should wind it back a little bit. Ultralove was one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Here we load into one of the larger ones. So here it's going to be a little bit more difficult to really snowball out of control and assert a push and reinforce from there. Aggression is going to be a little bit less favorable here on Incorporeal. I mean, there's a bit of a give and take. On the one hand, the rush distance by ground is longer. That is true. On the other hand, I would say that these bases are more exposed. Your 3-base setup is pretty secure, but your 4th base is a lot more out in the open. It's further away. It's on the low ground. There's a greater angle of attack here. Likewise, the 5th base also further away as well. The bases are very spread out on Incorporeal. But we'll see how our players will approach this. For now, Hatch Gas Pool. I will say that Muta play can be quite successful in this map, so that's going to be an option here for Reynor if he wants to go into Mutas. Mutas are viable in ZvP, but they have to be hidden. Like, you're relying quite heavily on hiding the Spire and hiding the Muta switch and catching your opponent off guard. But now Stargate Opener out of Classic. Now we're opening up. Also, este sinistro pack. Good to see you. Good to see you, as always. Hope you've been doing well. I know things are getting busy. Things are getting very busy. Hope you're taking care. Este sinistro. As for now, I'm going to be settling in. Adept does get eyes on the expansion. Stargate about to finish. Nothing crazy yet. Really, we're just keeping our eyes open here for the timing of the Twilight Council from the start of Classic. When he throws it down, where he throws it down. Likewise, we'll see if Reynor once again goes for the early Evo Chamber. We'll see if he once again goes into Ling Hydra. Adepts are poking in. Oracle's moving out. Classic, he hasn't committed yet. Waiting for his moment. Still holding on. Adepts say race back home. And the Spore is not yet done. Getting 1, getting 2 drones. Not bad. 2, 3. Oh, barely 3. But doesn't stick around too long and will be punished for its Classic. Getting a little bit too cavalier there. Getting a little bit too greedy. And that was not worth it. Classic, he will lose the first Oracle. Ay, ay, ay. Better defense here from Reynor. Again, things initially were looking better for Classic, but he stuck around a little bit too long. Second Oracle moves out, gets 1 more drone. Oh. Has to respect the Spores. Oh, he gets a second. And a third. Okay. 3 drones going down. Twilight Council and Forge are on the way. This does look like +1 and Blink. Standard follow-up. Ooh, Reynor rushing into an earlier lair. Now, if you recall, last game we had an Evo Chamber before a lair into +1 melee. This straight up lair instead. This could be a couple different things. If we go on a little bit longer without a single Evo Chamber, this could be for a Hydra based all-in, where you drone up to 66 and then you just go mass Ling Hydra. Evo Chamber now gets thrown down. Oh. And again, because this is more delayed, this could be +1 range instead of +1 melee. We could be rushing into range and rushing into a more Hydra heavy composition instead. So we'll keep an eye on Reynor, we'll see what he goes for. Lair is almost done. We do have the initial wave of adepts moving out. Again, that's going to be 6 adepts here for Classic. And Reynor, he is getting ready for it. Once again, Classic working towards Templar Archives. Shades in towards the natural. Lings are keeping up, and Lings, they get us around. A nice round here from Reynor. Shuts down the adepts. Does bring them down. Oh, and we were assuming it was going to be Ling Hydra, but no, it is going to be straight up Spire play, which we did bring up at the start of the game. But again, Incorporeal, this is a map which is very good for Muta play, just because of how spread out the bases are. If this goes unscouted, it makes it even more difficult for the defending player to keep up with the Mutas. So far, so good. So far, unscouted. So we're going into Mutas. And we'll see if Classic can get a read on what's going on. But now, getting into Blink, getting into Storm. Oracles are being somewhat active. Does poke in, sees no research, +1 melee just now begins. As the Oracle Scout. And he's setting up. Now, at the start of the game, we did mention how muted play is a little bit more common on this map. I mean, if we can say that Classic, you can assume that as well. He does have cannons at the third, but the main base is exposed. No setup. Spire is done. And muted production has begun. And remember, there's no Roach Warren, there's no Hydrogen. It looks like mass muter. Like, we're not just making muters to harass, we're going mass muter. We're going to double down. And Classic, he still doesn't know. Recovering from surgery. Oh my god. I didn't know that you were undergoing surgery, Pap. Yeah. Cuida that, Pap. Cuida that. Glad to hear you're doing well. Glad to hear. Take care. Take care. As mutas are amassing. Ooh, it looks like they just got spotted. Yeah, cannons are on the way. Stargate as well. Yeah, mutas that have been spotted. And Classic is preparing back at home. Catching out Zerglings. Cannons are building up. Mutas, they will hit the third. Lings, they went for the surround. They attempt to. Decent positioning here with the Stalkers. Does force a recall. Mutas, they hit the expansion. Probes, they do pull away in time. The reactions here from Classic. Does pull away. Storm is coming in. And Phoenixes are amassing as well. Oof. Yeah, brutal Storm. Does force an Archon, which is not bad against Ling Muta. Do you want those Archons regardless? Oof. Another Storm. Lings, they rotate towards the third. Mutas towards the fourth. And they take down the initial cannon. Not bad. They get us around on the Zealot as well. Muta's going to be poking in. Stalkers, they stand their ground. Phoenixes are building up as well. And that's a lot of mutas falling. That's going to be how many? That's going to be 12 mutas going down. They get 11 probes, but that is not worth it. That's a lot of dead mutas. And Reynor, he's still maxed out. And so far, I mean, he's at least containing Classic. True. He's containing. Classic, the army is split. Oof, gets a Storm. Does land the Storm, picking up more mutas. It's one of those things where the supplies are... I mean, the soup does lie. True. The soup does lie. Where Reynor, he's almost maxed, but this is a very fragile army. A couple of storms, and this army evaporates. 100%. Like, so again, like, the soup is... The supply is deceiving. Not really what it seems. Storms, they... Ooh, don't quite connect. High Templar goes down. Nice target firing. Brings down the Templar. Army's going to be zoned away. Nice kiting here with the Phoenixes. There's going to be a lot of mutas going down. Oof. 3, 4, 5 mutas falling. Losing even more. And Reynor's just getting bullied back. Classic has to calm down. Yeah, pulls back with his ground army. Phoenixes, they overextend. But again, this is just giving Classic more breathing room as he's building up more Phoenixes and building up more High Templar. So again, even though Classic was down 80 supply earlier, you can see he's catching up. Now down 50. And he's slowly closing that gap. And I do favor Classic's army head-on, 100%. Like, with more storms, like, he will win a head-on fight. Reynor, he's splitting up. We have Lings towards the left, Lings in the center, and mutas into the main. Reynor, he has to try to pull Classic apart. We have a couple of Corruptors. They built a tank. Stalkers, they do respond. At the same time, Lings, they move in. Archon's in position. So far, Classic is holding. As Lings, they push him into the bases. They run into Stalkers. Classic is all over this. And Reynor is just being shut down so hard. Losing almost every single muta. Oh, God. Yeah, the Phoenixes are insane. Once again, does overextend. Lings, they try to bust into the base. And nice hold position micro. Probes are finally going down. Finally, some economic damage. But Reynor has lost too much. Reynor, he's lost how many? He's lost 55 mutas. Oh, God. 55 mutas, 200 Zerglings, 229 even. Again, just such efficiency here from Classic, and now he's pushing. Now he's pushing, he's breaking out, and Reynor cannot stop him. He cannot stop the main army. It's not going to happen. Again, Reynor's army is built to harass, not built to fight. It's not built to engage. And we have a Hive on the way that would have been for Ultras. Reynor, he has to counterattack. The base is going to go down. You have the defensive warp in. Cannons are buying time. And Classic is pushing in. He's going for the kill. Reynor, he has to go for the base trade. It's the only way. The Phoenixes are racing back home. Mutas, they bust into the main. At the same time, Classic splits up. Breaks the natural. Breaks the third as well. There are corruptors, so the Phoenixes, they can't quite engage with the mutas. Okay. Reynor, he can try to pull this off. Kills the fourth base. At the same time, his main is about to go down as well, though. And there are Archons at home to defend. Yeah, Classic, he's holding. He's holding back at home. The natural is secure. The third base less so, but yeah, GG gets called. There's just nothing left here, and Classic, he will defend, he will attack, he will extend his lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. As we mentioned, kind of leading into this game, we were talking about the benefits of mutas and where they can really excel. We brought it up in the first couple of minutes, or once we saw the Spire. When it comes to muta play here, especially in this matchup, it can be successful if it goes unscouted. If you remember, it did get scouted. If you recall, as mutas were amassing, as mutas were moving out towards left-hand side, Classic, he did spot them, and Classic, he threw down his cannons, threw down a second Stargate, and he started Phoenix production. Like Classic, he did have the wherewithal, he did have the foresight to get ready for it ahead of time. He did confirm it early on, early enough. Again, going into mutas, it is so heavily reliant on keeping it hidden, on making a surprise. If you don't surprise your opponent, then games like this happen, where Classic, he just turtles up, he defends, he shuts it down. GG. GG, well played. With that, Classic takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 3. Let's go. Getting into game 3. And the pressure is on Reynor. We'll see if he can bring it back. We'll see if he can make a series out of this. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series down in the series, my apologies. Okay, didn't get a lot of sleep tonight. Down in the series, 0-2. We'll see if we can bring it back. We'll see if we can make a series out of this. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. Again, in Classic game 1, he was able to keep up with the Ling Hydra of Reynor, able to confirm that Reynor was teching and just embrace Sky Toss and snowball out of control. In game 2, Classic, he was able to scout the muta play, able to scout it in time and able to shut it down and able to defend, persevere, snowball out of control as well. Game 3, what's the plan for Reynor? Reynor has been mixing it up, he's been shifting gears so far every game in the series. I'm expecting to see something different once again. Now, welcome one and all to Persephone. Persephone is an interesting map in the map pool. Does have a more direct rush distance by air, like short rush distance by air, because that muta play could be successful here, but I don't recommend going mutas 2 games in a row, especially after it did fall on its face in game number 2. Likewise, rush distance by ground is shorter. We have seen a lot of German taxis. We have seen a lot of ground-based all-ins on 3 bases on Persephone, so that's going to be viable here for Reynor. Otherwise, it's a map of extremes. Either we see all-ins or we see a lot of late game. This is one of those maps where it is very easy to cut in half. Very easy. The other thing about this map is it's difficult to take your opponent's bases. When it comes to the fringe base in the center left or the top right-hand base as well, they're pretty secure. Even if you don't take them yourselves, your opponent won't be able to take them either, just because they are very much so on your side of the map. They're very much so isolated, and it's hard to really kind of gain control and take those bases from your opponent. So we do often see a lot of split map, a lot of late game, if we can get past the 4-base setup. But we'll see. We shall see. For now, Stargate Opener out of Classic, and Hatchgas Bull out of Reynor. As Classic is going to be zoned away, 3rd base is being taken. And we'll see what Reynor goes for. Does he open up Evo Chamber? Does he open up Roaches? Again, typically we're looking to see if the Zerg player does some shenanigans here and does something quirky to bring down the Protoss. That's what we're expecting. As Classic does slip in. We'll threaten the main. Does cancel the shade. Doesn't quite get a drone. Bit of miscontrol. Does attack the queen. Gets 1 drone so far and just 1. Acceptable losses for Reynor. Reynor, he defends. He does defend quite nicely here. We do have the Oracle moving out. Spore is almost done. Queen is in position. Oracle will get 1 drone, we'll get 2, 3 even. Jesus. 3 drones go down. Once again, Spore not quite done either. Not at the natural, that's going to be 6 drone kills. 7? Oh my god. Brutal damage. 6 drones go down. A very strong start here from Classic. Strong startlings, they do go for the counter attack, they get a surround. Does catch the Adept. Not bad. Takes down the Adept, but I would still say this is a stronger start here for Classic. So on his 3 bases. Twilight Council's on the way into Forge, plus on a Blink. Standard follow-up. Once again, we're expecting early Temple Archives out of Classic to go into Storm. And we're still waiting to see what Reynor brings to the table. What do you have for us? What do you got? Classic does rotate. And okay, this I was not expecting, but once again, something different. It is going to be a 5-minute lair timing into a Roach Warren. Okay. Roach Warren for the first time this series. We have not gone for Roaches at all so far in this best of 5. So Reynor, once again, he's mixing it up. And we'll see when he does cut worker production. As I'm not ruling out a Roach All-In. By the way, I'm not ruling that out. The 4th base is on the way for Larva at least. Does take his gases. It does go for the Evo Chamber. Okay, that tells us we're going for a later timing. We're waiting for upgrades. We're building up. Meanwhile, Classic going into an earlier charge. Temple Archives is done, working towards Storm. Ooh, and meanwhile, Stasis does go for the main. Brutal connection, catching up most of the mineral line. Ay, ay, ay. And we're taking up into an infestation pit. Okay, that I was not expecting. Pit is on the way. Are we going into Swarm Host? I mean, that is viable in this matchup. True. No, never mind. We have the Hydrogen. So Reynor, it looks like only a safety Roach one. He's not making any Roaches. He's setting up for Lurker Tech. Stasis is denied. Prism is on the way, going for an Archon drop. No Storm. Oracle goes down. And the Archon drop is coming in. Again, charge is already complete. +1 is on the way. And there are no Roaches. Yeah, reactive Roaches here in production. Reynor is getting caught with his pants down. Queens are under fire. Lings are trying to collapse in. But queens are going down. Yeah, queens are going down. Drones are getting exposed. And this is getting out of hand. This is getting critical damage already. Yeah, queens are falling left and right, down to 2 queens. Roach is just now popping out, but this is brutal here at the same time. Drones are falling. Yeah, massive warping into the main. Drones are going down, and before Reynor can really embrace his bases here, before he can take up into a hive and into lurkers, this is too much. It's too much, Pap. You don't like this. Another queen gets surrounded. Archon's just double control in the natural. Prism is still alive. And just a cheeky timing here from Classic. Again, he went for the early Temple Archives, but no Storm. GG, the 1G out of Reynor. And Classic, he will take the series 3-0, becoming this week's Korean StarCraft League champion. GG. GG, well played. A very, very cheeky build here from Classic. Winding it back here, typically every game so far he's been going for earlier Storm. He's going for a Temple Archives into Storm. This game he did open up into Charge. He went +1 Charge into no Storm. Archon dropped Prism across the map into a very early warp in timing there, and we saw that Reynor, he had a Roach Warren, he had 0 roaches. Reynor, he was cutting corners. He went for a Roach opener into a 4th base, into droning, into a lair, into an infestation pit. He was taking up into a Hydrogen. He was taking up so much. He had the infestation pit, he had the Hydrogen, he had the Lurker Den, or he was thinking about the Lurker Den, he had the Roach Warren, but he had 0 roaches. He was being so greedy. He was cutting a lot of corners, and with that, GG. GG well played. He had nothing to defend. He had a handful of Zerglings and a handful of Queens, and with that, Classic claims the win. GG, well played. Impressive play there by Classic. Again, typically KSL is Hero's tournaments. Hero, he has won so many Korean StarCraft leagues, but this week Classic takes down Hero in the semis and takes down Reynor in the finals, and that is a back-to-back win here for Classic. What I mean by that, this week Classic, he wins KSL and he also wins the Wardy TV Monday. During the Monday tournament, Classic, he took down MaxPax and he took down Shin as well in the grand finals. So Classic winning 2 of the weeklies so far, and there's 1 weekly left. What do we have? I guess 4 weeklies left. 2 weeklies even. Sorry, 4 in total. We have Tuna Cup, that's going to be later on tonight, and we have the Pigasaur Cup as well. Now, Classic, he isn't really too active when it comes to either the Tuna Cup or the Pigasaur Cup, so I don't know if we'll be there for them, but he could go for even more this week. He could just win everything. We'll see. As Classic has been on a tear this week. 2 wins so far, 2 weeklies. GG. GG, well played. And with that, that does conclude our coverage of the KSL. Again, this event did occur over the weekend, did occur on Saturday. At the time, we were covering the Fusion Esports League, and we were otherwise resting up for the rest of the broadcast. So I do apologize for not covering this live. We'll do our best to cover this live when it comes back, post EWC. It was announced not too long ago that the KSL is going to be going on hiatus. It's going to be going on a hiatus. The next Korean StarCraft League is going to be in August. Let me just double check. Let me double check, but quickly checking our calendar here. Yes, so the next KSL is going to be August the 2nd. That's going to be the week after EWC, so after Esports World Cup, then is going to be the next KSL. Until then, the KSL is going to be going on that hiatus. So again, much love to Chicken Man and Dave Testa. They do a lot of work hosting and organizing the Korean StarCraft League, but again, they're going to be putting it on a break here so everyone can get ready for the Esports World Cup. So big shout to Dave and Chicken Man for putting in the work, for hosting the event. Likewise, as you can see here, when it comes to our schedule, our next broadcast is going to be later on tonight. You can see us here on Tuesday. We're here Tuesday morning. We just wrapped up KSL. Later on tonight, we have Sparkling Tuna Cup. Now, you might be thinking, hold up, isn't Tuna Cup on Sundays? What's going on? It is, typically, but this week we were casting the Fusion Esports League qualifiers over the weekend, and it was clashing with Tuna Cup, and we didn't want to force players to pick between the global qualifier of FEL and a weekly tournament, so we didn't want to clash. As a result, we actually did reschedule, and Tuna Cup is going to be tonight. It's going to be tonight instead. Because of that, it might have less signups than usual, just because it's at a more awkward time, not at a regular time over the weekend. So regardless, we're going to run it, and of course that's going to be in 6.5 hours. Sorry, 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours. We're going to be live with the Tunic Cup. Meanwhile, we have Pegastar Cup tomorrow morning. We have the Pawncast tomorrow evening. We have StarCraft Evolution League, more Fusion Esports League as well. And of course, next week's Tunic Cup on Sunday at its regular time slot. So that's going to be our schedule for the week. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Again, it is going to be a bit of a shorter broadcast today, which I'm more than happy with. I barely got any sleep, I'll be honest. Gonna get some breakfast. I'm gonna get some breakfast, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Gonna get ready for some more StarCraft. Let's go. Let's go. Classic gonna win EWC? He might. He might. But yeah, Classic looking really good. I mean, hey, he's been looking in form for sure. I would still rate Hero over Classic when it comes to their back and forth play, but Classic has been definitely committing a lot of time and been devoting a lot and improving a lot as well. I think what's important about everyone's current form is that everyone is only going to get better. Remember, EWC is how long away? EWC is 2 weeks. 2 weeks away at this point. 2 weeks. Almost on the dot, actually. So for the next 2 weeks, Reynor is practicing, he's improving, Clem's is doing the same, Hero, Maru, Classic, everyone is training, everyone is practicing, everyone will be in form in 2 weeks for EWC. And we'll see what that rate of improvement leads to and who's going to be, in form, locked in on the day. Or on that week, I should say. Oh boy, so they still got 2 weeks, to get ready. To get ready for some more StarCraft for that global finals. Let's go. Yep, 22nd to 25th. So until then, we're going to be getting some rest. Until then, we're going to be getting some rest here. Again, we're going to be back in 7.5 hours. We'll see you then. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Again, we are live every single day here on the CranKy Ducklings, and more than any other channel out there, by the way. We cast all the StarCraft, and we'll see you later tonight for the Tunic Cup. See you later tonight. Who's casting EWC? We know that we're going to be casting it. I'm sure that some of the other streams are going to be live with it as well. But we'll at least be live here on the Ducklings, as always, puppy, as always. But otherwise, we'll see you guys later on tonight or tomorrow. Take care. Have a great rest of your day and have a great rest of your week as well. And I know there's a lot of StarCraft coming up. As always, we'll do our best to bring you as much StarCraft as we can. We'll do our best. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go pass out. I'm gonna go get some sleep, papi. Yeah. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time. Hasta luego.